to Miss Martin Muses. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses, where we muse upon what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Well, today we are talking about something that makes me happy, it makes me laugh, makes me a little bit sad, but it certainly does not tick me off. And it is Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is what we are talking about tonight on the Fantasy Tavern, in the Fantasy Tavern, and around the table with our mugs of ale or other hot drinks. It is none other than Stig Kenobi.
Hi.
Hello there from the future. Can you give us a report? Is everything okay?
Hello there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm doing well. I woke up to the sound of hail hammering my windows. So, proper Norwegian weather at the moment.
Okay, but at least the world is still in existence in the future. The world is still in existence, so we will all be okay. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. And the lovely, the gracious, the brilliant, the lady herself, Lady Gravemaster.
Well, thank you, Miss Martin. That was so humbling and sweet. I appreciate that. I am excited to be here to talk Indiana Jones. There's a bird in the background,
Yeah.
and he's just as excited about this apparently as the rest of us. He will not stop.
That's okay.
But I am so happy to be here. I love Indiana Jones. He was my first on-screen crush, was Indiana Jones. So and that, of course, and then I was like, oh, I love Han Solo too, but like Indiana Jones, when with that reveal in Raiders where he hears the gun cock and then he hears the hammer and he pulls out his whip and he takes care of the guys, and then he just comes out of the shadows and is just oozing masculinity. I'm like, yes. I think I was 6, and I knew then that I really liked men.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was.
That's exactly what I do when I hear someone speak Swedish. I kind of cock my head and then I whip the shit out of them.
Oh well, yeah. In a different way, I was about to say you do not like Swedish or I'm with you there, Lady Gravemaster. But I was about your age when the first one came out, and it scared the living daylights out of me. The ending of Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
No, you had a meltdown?
It was terrifying. I actually did not see it for the first time in the cinema because it was like, I don't think I was even allowed to go see it because I think it was so scary and stuff. But my brother got to go see it with his friends, for a birthday party and stuff. So he told me how great it was. So I got to see it for the first time when it came out on VHS.
The first one, right, which I consider to be the best, even though the third one is probably a bit better story, But the first one has that scene when he's talking to the CIA guys about the Ark, and he's showing the picture, and then later when Sala is talking about the Ark, that's both of those scenes gives the whole thing an eerie setup.
Oh,
There's something. It's almost as if a little bit like Jaws when Brody's looking at the pictures of shark attacks.
Yes.
It gave me that feeling that, and like Sala said, this is something you're not supposed to disturb.
Wow. I didn't even think about it, but you're right. And there's even that moment as Indiana Jones also is talking about it with those other dudes, and they just give him this blank look. He goes, what? Didn't any of you go to Sunday school?
Yes, I love that part.
Yeah. And there are several aspects of the arc, and I'm thinking we're going to get into that. This is something that they quite accurately portrayed in Indiana Jones, and part of what I believe makes this part of the fantasy genre is because the arc, as it appears in the movie at the end, is very much what you would have
mystical powers.
the mystical powers and the
Yeah.
way you would have seen the ark manifested if you were hanging out with Moses and all them in the desert. Like you
Mhm.
cannot look upon it or you will die. If you touch it, you like drop dead and all that. So all of those aspects of it that you did see later, that it really was not just something not to mess with, but just on so many different levels.
Yeah,
That
and Indiana Jones is more than the movies, and Indiana Jones 2 certainly makes use of mythology,
Mhm.
Yes.
which is very much a fantasy aspect,
and
and
I
more
think
so in the books.
see, and this is why Lucasfilm used to deliver these incredible mixtures, like these balanced mixtures of fantasy sci-fi, because Star Wars is also like sci-fi and fantasy. It has fantasy elements and it has sci-fi elements, and it's very well balanced. So even though it takes place, like Star Wars takes place in space, which is obviously very like that is pretty much the basis for a
Well-
lot of sci-fi outside of like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. You still get like you have the Jedi who are very reverent and they use the Force and they have these, lightsabers, which is like the swords.
Mhm.
So with Indiana Jones, it's a little bit it's you go to these exotic locations and it's like a historical sci-fi fantasy, which is really great to see.
Mhm.
Because
So-
it is basically it's Indiana Jones tackling old artifacts
Mhm.
and mysteries, but some of those mysteries, like with the Crystal Skull, is tied to what's more sci-fi than fantasy,
Yeah.
because those crystal skulls exist. They're in museums, and there's something off about them.
Oh yeah, well, there's a joke in there about they belong in museums. Yeah, and that's why even though Indiana Jones 4 to me, I will defend is always going to be canon because George Lucas did it. This was their story.
It was
In my-
good until the last, like I was with it up until probably the last 20 minutes, and I was like, nah, you.
Yeah, there's
'Cause
a
here's
part
the
of me
thing.
that considers it semi in my
Here is the thing. They'll like, and some people talk about how like, oh God, really, like aliens or like what like. I could have even gotten on board with that. The one thing that really destroyed this for me was Indiana Jones would never celebrate the destruction of an ancient Mayan temple, regardless of the fact that they've just freed an alien spaceship.
Mhm.
He would have never, he would never have done anything to take part in that, because his whole thing is to like preserve it, put it in a museum, like the longevity of the things. Because even the Ark of the Covenant at the end, he was super concerned about where it was, is it being taken care of, like what, like the whole joke of like top men are working on it, and he's like, who? And they're like, top men.
Yeah.
And
And
then
any archaeologist
Yeah.
would not celebrate the destruction of anything.
and
You know,
and Go ahead.
Indiana Jones 4,
Yeah.
when Indy is talking to Mutt, he mentions that he used to ride with Pancho Villa.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That line makes the Young Indiana Jones series canon.
Yes.
That does, yes.
And
And
Indiana Jones, like Star Wars, had an EU, and
Yep.
George Lucas referenced both in in Indiana Jones and the prequel trilogy of Star Wars. So he did the same thing.
Yes, correct.
It was all part of the same package.
Mm-hmm.
This means if they kill off Indiana Jones in Indiana Jones 5, they're breaking their own canon, because Indiana Jones, in the Young Indiana Jones, right? You see him as an old man
Yes.
at the beginning, and he somehow lost his eye too. But
Yeah, he's like 90,
So he-
95 or
yeah,
something.
so he definitely lives until the late 80s.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, Stig, do you remember that poll that you took almost a year ago between James Bond or Indiana Jones?
Yeah, the ones that hurt people on the inside.
Yeah, the terrible polls that are just absolutely awful.
Yeah.
If Miss Martin wants to share my screen.
Yes, I was about ready to say
Oh.
I wasn't sure what you wanted to
You
share.
didn't save the poll, did you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
okay. I'm gonna go ahead and share it. Here
I
we
never knew I
go.
had it in me.
I don't think you understand how much this poll wrecked my soul.
Oh
like,
no.
Like, do you see a check mark? I did not vote because I could not pick.
Oh,
I yelled at Stig in the D. By the way,
Yes.
folks, I went into DMs and yelled at him for this poll. I was like, I am not voting. That's why there's no check mark here. I did not vote because I was like, I can't. I physically cannot make this decision. I just will let the chips fall where they may. And then I even quote tweeted this because I was like, well, Indiana Jones is like great, and I love Indiana Jones, but James Bond is like a global icon. And then nothing to see here. Well, I know I quote tweeted it. I was like,
You know what?
I was like, I'm genuinely surprised by this result because I actually wasn't expecting it to be such a big win. I thought this was going to be a much closer poll than 38-8 to 61-2. Like, I really thought this was going to be closer to like 48-52 or something like that. But
I think I did Aragorn versus Luke Skywalker or something.
yes,
too.
you did. And I voted for Aragorn on that one. But
yeah. Shane Nolan says it's Sophie's choice.
it really is Sophie's choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's that. But I think
I did a few of those, and I was deliberately picking choices that would piss people off.
that were cruel and unusual. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I was like, I got into the DMs and I was like, Stig, I'm not voting. This is ridiculous. I refuse to choose. And he's like, well, that's your choice. And I was like,
I think I was giving you examples of other future polls, and you were like, stop it.
yeah, you were one of them. God, who was it? It was like you did Aragorn and Luke Skywalker, and I was like, oh, Aragorn, like after what Disney did, Aragorn all the way. But then you picked oh God, who did you pick? Oh, it was King Theoden or Qui-Gon Jinn. And I was like, no, you can't have that one either.
Oh, that's an easy one for me. Qui-Gon Jinn die.
Well,
But
Theoden
that's-
died too.
Well, I know, but I mean, I would have no problem. I would never choose. Well, never. It's a long story. I've already caused enough controversy with my opinions of Qui-Gon Jinn. But yes, these are evil. But I guess for the
Here's another evil one.
okay,
Chewbacca, no, R2D2 or Sam Gamgee.
R2.
Why?
Yeah, R2's just a droid, anyways. He's just screw him.
No, he's not just a droid.
No, I know he's not just a droid. Hey, while Stig is tearing out everyone's soul, I do want to say hi to the chat. Hello, Timon Flip. Hello, Keck44. Hello, Ancient One. Shane Nolan has been here. And and of course Timon, who was last night on my channel rather, for the video games one. And Shane Nolan says, I remember the Indiana Jones Irish 1916 Rebellion, Easter Rising. Yes, I loved the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. I can understand why some people weren't crazy about it because it was a little bit different. It was more like history lessons, and that's what George wanted it to be. Mm-hmm. But yes, Indiana Jones kind of became Forrest Gump. He was at every major historical thing. And 1916 Rebellion, oh my gosh, the Easter Rising. Every time I go back to Ireland, and I always have to take the bus from the airport, the express bus from the airport to the train station to get down to Cork, we always pass by the big the big mailbox, not the mailbox, you know what I mean, the post office where all of that went down. That history is still there in Ireland, and the last time I was also there for the 100-year anniversary of it. So it's amazing. I was about to say, we're not just going to be talking about the movies, we're going to be talking about the TV shows and the books, and Stig knows a lot about the books. I have not read any of the books except the movie adaptations as a kid, and those are
the way it seems to work is that the you do the Young Indiana Jones show first, and then you do the novels, which are called the Indiana Jones prequels, and they pretty much take place between the show and the first movie. or rather the second movie, because the second one takes place before the first. So it's basically, yeah, that's how it is.
Okay, and Dan Blackroyd says the comics. We forgot about the comics. Yes, the comics. We got adventures about Atlantis, the Scrolls of Buddha, the Philosopher's Stone, Golden Fleece, Spear of Destiny, and more. Why, yes, we did.
Yep. The Atlantis one is also
a video game.
The comics is based on the video game. However, the comics did not do that story justice, because I read it as a graphic novel last year, and that one did not hold up well. Actually, it wasn't as good as I remembered. But the video game is awesome. You could actually beat it in 3 different ways, which was a novelty back then.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. And speaking of which, just like the list that you just had, Dan Blackroyd, they also in the books did a story with a witch, if I'm correct, Stig?
Oh, the novels.
Yes, like the different things they did.
So far, I've read 7. One has covered the Oracle of Delphi. There's been a Stonehenge one. Noah's Ark. That book was really good. And there's been one about a white witch, but the MacGuffin was the sheath for one of the Arthurian swords that healed you if you wore it. And what else? Oh yeah, Interior World. It's basically Hollow Earth thing. That one was shit.
Okay, but still, that's part of what made it fun. Is you have all these things, and it went along with the theme. This man is an archaeologist, and you would learn a lot. I would be the biggest liar on planet Earth if I did not first learn the pertinent facts of what exactly the Ark of the Covenant was and what it looked like, except for the movie. And so when I went and read, I was reading the Bible later, as a bit older. I'm like, they really got it right. The way that the Ark of the Covenant was described with the cherubim and the whole symbolism of the feminine aspect of it, and then all of that, and the things that were inside of it, and the Holy Grail. Well,
Indiana Jones, especially Raiders and Last Crusade. So Temple of Doom, I think, was, because it was supposed to be a prequel to Raiders, it just felt like, even though like it's the second one made, it's supposed to be before Raiders, and so it just kind of feels out of place, because he comes off as far more experienced in Temple of Doom than he did in Raiders. He really feels like a professor who has sort of just been thrown into this adventure. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in Temple of Doom, he feels like he has more experience behind him and whatnot, and he's a bit more cheeky. And so when you're looking at Raiders and Crusade, the symbolism has a bit more finesse to it than in Temple of Doom. In Temple of Doom, it's the imagery is very pronounced. There's not a lot of like subtlety. There's not a lot of finesse. It's like, and granted, I know the dude is ripping hearts out of chests. Like that's not a subtle thing per se, but like the eyeball soup and the monkey brains and like all of that stuff. It like they really tried to hammer home that this was a gilded palace. Like they really went all in. It was not. There was a lot less subtlety in the second one.
Yeah,
and
the second one for me. Well, when I was a kid, I loved it. Yeah. But it does have some issues. The lady is far too annoying now. The actress is fine. She's doing what she's supposed to.
Yeah.
But character was too annoying and too loud. And seeing short round kung fu, those big bodybuilder guys, that was like not
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, that's why I was really glad when
Yeah.
Last Crusade came around. I felt that gave them the chance to finish that up a little bit. We do have the Gilk man, Thomas Gilkey is in the chat. Hello, thank you. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses. Dan Blackroyd, where did he go? He was just said what he learned from Indiana Jones is yes, that Jehovah starts with an I. So yeah,
It does.
true. True.
J. Oh, idiot.
There is
And,
no
like,
J.
The thing is, all the details in those films, like you said, they were accurate.
Yeah.
Like, it does start with an I. It,
Mhm.
like, that is how you spell it.
'Cause
Like,
there is
all of these
J.
things are details that they would not care about today. They would have literally just spelt out, like, if Crusade was made today by current day Lucasfilm, they would just spell out Jehovah. Like, J, like, it
Yeah.
would literally start with a J.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
and certainly
that's-
they wouldn't let Indiana Jones's dad smack him for taking the Lord's name in vain.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah. Father Miller would have approved of.
Oh, and Indiana Jones would have been a female, like in Diana Jones, which is a spinoff.
Oh gosh.
What?
No, he's joking.
No, I'm not. That actually is a thing.
No.
But the Indiana Jones, Stig, that's a porn, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a
It's
a
not.
spinoff.
It's not a serious one. But
Gravy's googling it. I could hear it.
I'm not Googling it. I'm yelling at
Don't
you for your
Google it.
poll. I'm yelling at you for your poll. And how is Kenobi winning? It's Gandalf.
I may be in Norway, but I can
You're a
hurt people with my reach.
yeah,
you're
well,
rude.
he's manipulating events from the future, Lady Gravemaster. You got to realize that. Yeah,
Well,
a seminal piece of work. Yeah, and I agree with you. Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom was fun. You know, Timon is mentioning things like the mine carts. Yeah, I loved that, and I loved
Yeah,
Short
like,
Round as a kid. But as a grown up, I didn't like it.
yeah, it's not a movie. Like, as a kid, I think that movie is a lot more fun than as an adult. That movie really does come off more as like a video game than it does on a film, because you go from like one objective to the you ride the elephants, then you get to the palace, then you find the secret passage, then you go through the bug infested wall door thing, booby trap, and then you're riding the mine carts. So like it was just it's
You know
very
what?
much
I had the video game. Actually, I
See?
still have it.
There you go.
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
And it's
You basically walk around and whip cages to free slaves. And then you get the minecart chase and all. But I still remember, though, to this day, back in, it probably was 89. For Christmas, I got the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade video game for the Commodore 64. My dad got it for me for Christmas. And I still have it, and it still works. It's on cassette tape.
ooh.
That was back when they made things to last, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the game is shit. It is. But back then, that didn't matter because you got to play Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
You know?
There was a comment up here. I'm trying to find it. I think was it Timon that said, "Wouldn't it be cool if they also did something Nordic?" Yeah, here it is. I would like an indie movie about something Nordic, going to some icy places, castles, and there's loads of stuff up there, Stig, or on you. They could do like Viking lore if they wanted to.
Yeah. There's a heck of a lot of artifacts from Viking mythology that they could do.
I really wanted an Indiana Jones because they had the Arthurian shield already. I would have loved to have seen like more Arthurian lore mixed with Indiana Jones.
They've done that in the books.
Yeah, but
Indiana Jones meets Merlin.
I would love not anymore.
Well, yeah, we wouldn't want them to make anything nowadays because it's going to be terrible. But in a fantasy world where things were still good.
Yeah, when it was still good, I really wanted to see on screen like him go through and like find the sword in the stone. You know what I mean?
Ooh, yay.
Like-
You know what was cool in one of the books?
Hmm.
Because Indiana Jones had like a dream sequence ish thing where it was talking to Merlin, and Merlin said, you know, he had many names over the centuries and stuff, and he said, in a few years, a man named Tolkien will write another version of me, which I thought was kind of cool. It's cheesy though, but it was kind of cool.
Yeah. That's the kind of cheesy I can tolerate.
Yeah.
Dan Blackward says that
I-
running from the boulder scene at the start of Raiders is one of the best constructed scenes of peril made. One way to freedom and no way back. It's also highly emulated other TV movies. Yes, that was masterful.
All he had to do though was just stop and let the boulder roll. Stop right away and let the boulder roll past him.
But then he would have been
then-
sealed in the cave.
Yeah, but it's dirt. He
No,
could have dug her-
I think he wouldn't have been able to get out. He would have died.
you just dig next to the boulder where the boulder
Just
stopped.
dig. Just dig.
Yeah, you're digging in the wrong place.
So like I always thought what I thought would have been cool or like a good way for Indiana Jones to sort of, because when they announced they were making a fourth one, what I thought would have been cool would have been like if he goes and finds the sword in the stone and you can't move it, but he doesn't want anybody else to like have this power, so he like builds a museum around it and he's the curator of that museum, and he starts bringing it like all of these artifacts that he's rescued or are too powerful for like any government or any man to like possess, and he basically stows them like safely away in the museum that he's basically built around the sword and the stone. Because like I always thought that would be a cool idea.
Isn't there one called the Librarian?
Yeah, they ripped off that idea. I thought of that when I was a kid. So like I was like, I would love for him to find the sword in the stone and like build a palace or a museum around it. But yeah, the Librarian is actually a really good. There was a TV series which was not bad. That's called The Librarians. But like it's the Librarian, the Curse of the Judas Chalice. These are actually things I'm going to be talking about on one of my nostalgia streams coming up. But yeah, I love the Librarian films quite a bit actually.
Timon Flip says the Nibelung Ring. Oh yes, from
Yeah.
That would
Which
be
is
bad.
The One Ring, kind of.
Pretty much,
Yeah, and it's got opera. I can actually do that aria that Brunhilde does. So that's actually I actually have I'm a Wagnerian soprano, so it's been a while though. I'd have to work on do some scales before. But,
The Nibelung ring thing is George Martin borrowed it. He mixed the Norse god Tyr with Siegfried the Dragon Slayer and made Jaime Lannister. And Brienne of Tarth is Brunhild.
Yep, you're correct. Yeah, a lot of that, he uses a lot of that mythology. Oh, Ancient One has just revealed a secret. I have the One Ring to rule them all. Oh, man. Now we know why you seem to have all power on the internet.
It is a gift.
It's a
A gift to
It
the
is a
foes
gift.
of the squirrels.
Yeah, all of those from Indiana Jones. So we've talked a little bit about the Arkham Raiders of the Lost Ark. Let's move this territory because I know we might need to lose Lady Gravemaster soon. I want to move the territory over to the third movie and the Holy Grail, the way that they did that.
Which is a damn good movie.
It's just such a good movie.
Holy crap, Sean Connery.
Yes.
And actually, all the actors in it are fantastic. Denholm Elliott gets a lot more to do. And his scenes with Sean Connery are amazing.
The chemistry of that cast was just lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
Like it really was.
Yeah.
And,
Julian Glover.
If there's one role Harrison Ford was born to play, it's Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Nobody else can be Indiana Jones.
They really
It's-
can't. And like that's why he said he's like, when I die, Indy dies. And now because Disney bought out Lucasfilm, he's like, well, what I really meant was like I would like the hat or like it could be passed on, but like nobody else will be able to play Indiana Jones when I'm gone because it's not like I think he compared it to James Bond where it's been played by multiple actors.
Yeah, he pulled it out of his buttocks.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
like
but I agree with him.
I do too. Like when he's dead, Indy is dead because like Indiana Jones is Harrison Ford, and Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
Some
precisely.
actors have that thing where they're so good in a role that nobody else should play that character. And Stallone has that with Rocky.
Yes.
You know,
And I would argue the same thing when they tried to have Timothy Dalton, whom I adore, but they tried to have him be Rhett Butler. It's like, no. Clark Gable is the only one. But the various ways that Sean Connery showed the range, I guess, of Sean Connery in his performance. And also the comedy he was able to pull off in that movie. And then the chemistry, of course, with Harrison Ford and the whole father-son dynamic.
I love the part where he's like, how did you know she was a Nazi? And he's like, huh? And like, that was not actually scripted. Like,
she talks in her sleep.
But like the part where where that interaction is happening when Indiana Jones, when he's like, how did you know how did you know she was a Nazi? And Sean Connery goes, huh? Like he actually didn't hear the line. Like that part's not scripted, but it felt so natural that they left it in. So because when he goes, huh? It's because he actually didn't hear. And so then Harrison Ford, who is like, he's like he's actually getting frustrated. He's like, how did you know she was a Nazi? Like, that's all actually real. That wasn't in the script.
You know
I didn't
what,
know
though?
that.
Little bit of trivia for that one. That movie has 2 actors from the Bond movies in it. And both of them were in in Roger Moore Bond movies. The guy who the butler at the castle who gets punched, he was in The Spy Who Loved Me with Roger Moore, and the Nazi lady in the movie, she was in A View to a Kill with Roger Moore. So she actually acted with 2 Bond actors within a few years.
I was gonna say there's actually 3 Bonds, or like
Julie
3
Glover.
Bond actors, because like Sean Connery is Bond.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah,
like
he is
2 from Roger Moore's era, but like Sean Connery is literally Bond. So,
well, Julian Glover, he was in this. Was he?
Julian Glover was in the Roger Moore Bond movie
The Spy
as well.
Who Loved Me.
No,
the
For Your Eyes Only.
For Your Eyes Only. My fault.
So there's 3 plus a James Bond.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it.
It's
it's
the German, the main German guy is in Force 10 from Navarone with Harrison Ford.
Well,
yeah.
He also played in Braveheart, the guy who wants to violate Mel Gibson's wife, the soldier, same actor.
Oh.
I think because unfortunately I'm gonna have to duck out here in about a minute or so. But it's I think the way that they ended Last Crusade was perfect, because so it makes sense that the Ark of the Covenant was stored away, because like you open it and basically like you're dead. You know what I mean? Like they didn't really understand how to control or utilize the Ark, so they just put it into bureaucratic storage, which is honestly probably like the best safe ever.
Gravy. The submarine in Indiana Jones 1 is the same one from Das Boot.
Nice. I didn't know that. we can share that trivia on Thursday too. But I think at the end of Crusade, when nobody gets the Holy Grail, I honestly think that is the best way that they could have done it. You know what I mean? Because like Indiana, like of course he's yelling at her and he's like, no, they weren't, like the knight warned us not to take it from here, like we can't cross the seal, you know, and she doesn't listen and it splits the, because like you're just seeing it, it's not the it isn't the like lightning and awe and power that the Ark had. It's a much more, again, it like number 3 definitely nailed the subtlety thing. Like I think the fact that the Holy Grail was so simple and he's like, that's the cup of a carpenter. And like they're really recalling all those details.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's, you know, the Grail itself is going to help you, is obviously going to save his father's life, like it's the cup of life and stuff. But the fact that it was able to split the earth when it passed the seal, like that's a huge biblical reference right there.
Say right then and there.
Well, there's a biblical
from Good Friday
lesson as well, because all the characters that desperately want eternal life die while reaching for it, basically.
Ooh.
Yep.
Yeah, because they're trying to do it unnaturally.
Yep.
Yeah, and because you see it with Elsa when she falls into the pit, and Julian Glover drinks from the wrong cup and all. But another thing, back in the day, Lucasfilm released a point-and-click adventure game based on that book. It plays almost like the Fate of Atlantis game. But when you bought the original box, you got a little copy of Henry Jones's diary, and you had to use the diary in the game to figure out puzzles.
That's cool.
Ooh.
Which was also it also worked as copy protection, didn't it? Because if you didn't have the original, you wouldn't be able to solve a couple of puzzles.
Okay,
and you'd be stuck.
All right, Lady Gravemaster unfortunately does have to leave us. She has she has duties. She has duties that she needs to attend to.
Yeah, I've got my littles, and they apparently need to be like fed and stuff like that. Who knew that people need to eat, right? But Miss Martin, it's always just such an honor and a privilege to be on here with you and talk all these amazing, wonderful properties with both you and Stig, even if he does make crappy polls. But it's like, this is one of my favorite IPs ever. And like I said, Indiana Jones was my first on-screen crush. Like, that's when I was like, yeah, I like men. I like manly men. I like this. I like him. Yeah. And so it was, yeah, it's good stuff. But thank you so much, chat. You guys are amazing. I hope you guys have a lot more fun talking for the next 45 minutes or so, or hour without me. But this has just been an absolute blast. So I will talk to you all later. Miss Martin, always a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you. And her link, Lady Gravemaster's link, is in the chat. Thank you. Ancient One says, let's talk fantasy, sci-fi, music, escapism, and all things in between. Yay! We love our Lady Gravemaster here. Thank you so much for being here with us this evening. Please go like, share, and subscribe early and often, like it's a Chicago election. And Lady Gravemaster and Stig will be live. Is it tomorrow? No, Thursday morning. Thursday morning at 6 a.m. my time Central. Yeah. So talking 80s movies.
Yeah, we never sleep. We take the streams damn seriously.
We do. We do indeed. All right. Much love, everybody. Have a wonderful night. And Stig, Teresa, always a pleasure.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Yep. Yay. Okay. Timon Flip had a question a little while back I wanted to get to. He said a question for the panel. In the future, after the downfall of Disney, okay, we definitely are in fantasy territory, but I'm for it. After the downfall of Disney, would you accept someone other than Harrison Ford as Indy, no remakes, only new stories. I would.
Nope. Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones. I might watch them, but it would I would not treat them the same as the Ford movies.
Yeah, it
You know,
wouldn't be the same. No.
no, I'm not a huge fan of the fourth movie, but Harrison Ford is superb in it.
Yeah, he's completely Indiana Jones the whole
Yeah,
time. Yeah,
it's like there's no effort.
yeah,
You know, he just puts on the hat and boom, there he is.
yeah.
You know,
My answer to that is slightly controversial. There is one man that I would accept because I already have accepted him as Indiana Jones, and that is Sean Patrick Flannery. I thought he was amazing and perfect as a young Indiana Jones. But looking,
yeah. You know what? Having someone play a young Indiana Jones, I'm fine with. But Indiana Jones in his prime is Harrison Ford.
okay, I can accept that. And I'm saying I would accept him because I thought he really was really good in those young Indiana Jones thing, and he really convinced me. Even though he doesn't exactly look like a young Harrison Ford, he was a good enough actor that he was able to pull it off. But that's
You,
a good caveat, Stig.
yeah, you know what people might should be worried about is there was a rumor about a while back that Disney were going to do an animated Indiana Jones show.
Mm-hmm.
That one should worry people, especially with the stupid animation styles they do and all. Indiana Jones is gritty.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun and all, but it should be R-rated because gruesome things happen in it, and they should, given the story, right? But turning it into some kid-friendly, slapstick cartoon, I think that will do a lot of harm to that brand. That's a personal opinion, though.
Yeah. Well,
But
not.
from what I saw, uh, and it's absolutely a rumor. It looked like those. The art style looked like those. Those short cartoons that they did with Star Wars. That was kind of scenes from the OT when
Mm-hmm.
Leia kicks Chewie and all. It looked like that.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. Not only would I be worried that they would make it too kiddie, I would also be worried that they would just completely butcher it and SJW it and all sorts of other horrible things. But I think it is interesting that you pointed this out, though, because Dan Blackroyd, he gave a link for a fan-made Indiana Jones animated trailer, and he has the link here in the chat, and he said it was really good, like probably better than anything that Disney would make. Yeah, I would almost accept something done by fans. Yeah, I'll take a fan-made.
A fan has been doing the old Thrawn trilogy as a computer animated series, and he's doing a great job. Actually, he is.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you go. So yeah, so look to the fans for that kind of stuff. Snortopoopus says, and hello, Snortopoopus. We love our animals here. We actually had a bird being a special guest today for a little bit. The other guest may still be here. It just depends on if he gets back from his assignment. But we do have Snortopoopus Cooper. Miss Martin says, how about David Wenham as Indiana Jones ducks for cover?
No.
Caveat. Indiana Jones. I'm sorry, David Wenham dressing up as Indiana Jones for me in private for private reasons. Absolutely, that'd be okay. Yeah, I'm.
He's bald now.
Doesn't matter. He could put on the hat.
No, he's not bald.
I don't know. Okay, even if he is, he could put on the hat. Yeah, Indiana Jones. That's definitely. I could have a man dress up for. Like that for me too. Yeah, that would be perfectly fine. See, I'm glad that Jacob Arnstein says, I'm glad that they didn't pass off the hat to Sheila. Oh gosh, yeah, that was just no thank you. When I thought it was funny though, because in my head canon, Indiana Jones had the final word. He's like, no, that's my hat. And he puts it on.
I didn't mind Shia LaBeouf, to be honest, except for that stupid Tarzan scene.
Yeah.
He was perfectly fine, but that whole jungle sequence was too CGI. It looked like a video game, and when they
Yeah.
drove off the cliff and landed in a tree and then fell into another tree.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff
Yeah.
messed up the movie for me. It wasn't the aliens or the fridge scene or anything like that. It was just it was a CGI. Same with the guy who got eaten by the ants. You see him he's on his back and he's screaming.
Oh,
and the
yeah.
That was if ants are crawling into your mouth, you close your mouth. You don't keep it wide open to scream.
Good point. You
Yeah,
learn.
so it was just give me the bugs in Kate Capshaw's hair any day,
Yeah. There we go. And you learn life-saving advice here on Miss Martin Muses. You find life-saving advice. Snorta Poopa says, Indiana Jones and the Muses of Doom.
Yeah, it belongs in a museum.
Ah. Well done. Okay, looks like some of the gentlemen are watching the whatchamacallit, the different trailer. We have OBG70. Hello, hope all is going great today. Why it is. Let's talk Conan soon. DM me. I do believe we follow each other. Let's see. Timon Flip. Miss Martin Muses, to me, the worst scene was the rubber snake rope. Oh gosh, that was so stupid.
Yeah, it was. I chuckled at it though, because the snake hit his face first.
Oh, got it. Okay. Jacob Ironside says, when I was a kid, I dressed up like Indiana Jones. I even had a whip. Aww.
Oh, I had a whip too. Made it from a rope, and I used black duct tape to make a handle, and I only got it to stick to something once, and it was a branch, and I swung from it, and all my friends were impressed.
Aw. That is so badass. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but it was like 1 in 500.
Yeah. You mean it didn't happen again?
No.
But that's okay. You became a legend. Sort of Poopa says Russians don't have enough panache to be the big bad in an Indiana Jones movie. The naughty, well, you say Ortsies and Nortsies are much more cinematic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of that Cold War stuff is dumb.
They make fantastic villains, especially when it comes to that, because Himmler, I believe, had a paranormal division. It didn't go anywhere, but they were they even sent scientists and some soldiers to Tibet to research race stuff. And it was called the Thule Society. It was like an occultist thing that the Yazis had going, which is probably what George Lucas based the whole thing on. Actually, you can read up on it. It's a perfect setup for adventure movies, and they kind of did it in Hellboy as well. The beginning of Hellboy 1 is very Indiana Jones-ish. And they did it in the Wolfenstein video games as well.
Oh, well, there you go. Heard it here first. Jacob Ironside, he was saying good evening to all of us and said he found out he has Viking blood in me. Well.
Oh, so you're the one who bit me.
That's a good one. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have laughed that hard. I actually do too, from about 1,000 years ago. It's incredibly diluted, very diluted blood. But Sort of Hoopa says, I bought an Aussie drover's hat in New Zealand. It's made by the same company that made Indiana's hat. Well, there you go. Yeah, the Australians say they need that stuff. They've got like giant monsters all over the place. He says, Keck 44, Wolfenstein on PS2 was great.
Yeah, the best one is the one called Return to Castle Wolfenstein. It's from the early 2000s. It's fantastic.
Well, there you go. Yeah, lots of people. I guess a lot of y'all played Indiana Jones. Yes. No comment, Ancient One. That escalated quickly. Dan Blackroyd. It gave us some Johnny Quest vibes. And Sort of Poop has asked Jacob, do Norwegians taste like salted herring?
Probably do.
Yeah. Well, we know that's what you like to. That's what you like to eat up there on your iceberg. Remember, Sort of Poopus is the closest of all of us to Steve right now.
Yeah, he's. I thought I saw him the other day. He was on a small ice, kind of like an ice flake, paddling around. He was heading to the store, I think.
Oh, well, there you go. And but don't you all have to carry around guns to protect yourselves from Snortopupus's people?
No, we have axes and swords.
Oh, well, there we go. No. Oh, you weren't here on Saturday when we were talking about that. The Svalbard Bard?
Yeah.
Yeah,
where they.
Yeah. That's where Snortopupus hangs out too.
Yeah, Soul Assassin. Go to GOG.com, which is basically Steam without a client. So you can just, if you buy a game there, you own it. You can just download it and install it. You don't have to be online to play it. GOG.com, they have the old Indiana Jones games on there. Fate of Atlantis being the best one, easily. So if you snag it when there's a sale, you could probably get it for $2 or something.
Well, cool. Yeah. And for those that are listening, maybe can't see, Solid had asked about Indiana Jones games. He didn't. Sadly, no, I didn't know about them until a few months ago. And he says, noted, Stig.
They have all the old Star Wars games there, too. And they have fixed them up so they work on Windows 10. So you're basically playing the old original games, but they work on a new Windows.
Well, there you go. You need to be like Jack Posobiec, who advertises for My Pillow and gets probably a few kickbacks. GOG should sponsor you.
Yeah, the Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis game though is highly story driven, and Indiana Jones, despite him being in fights and all, his main strength is his brain. He's a linguistic. Right? He speaks so many languages, it's insane. And he gets out of trouble by using his brain. He's thinking on his feet. None of the movies end with Indiana Jones beating up the villain. That's not how it goes. The villain usually defeats himself. Right? And Indiana Jones doesn't get defeated because he's using his brain. He's a very high IQ individual.
Yeah. Well, he is a PhD. That was back when PhDs were smart.
Yeah, and Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, well, it delves into the Atlantis mythology, but it's done in a way where you actually learn a lot about Atlantis as you go along, because you're looking for clues in various parts of Europe and whatever. And it makes you feel like Indiana Jones, because Indiana Jones shouldn't be Tomb Raider. He's more Sherlock Holmes than Tomb Raider, actually.
Good point. Soul Assassin, he had said a little while back, I wanted to bring this back up. He said about some museum employees I've spoken to, said the last scene with all the crates is accurate, 100%. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I need to know that.
Well, they basically store stuff in crates.
Well, that too, but I just hope it's
not on display.
Oh, that's true. That's true. But I just hope that there's not in there all these ancient things that have the potential to kill us all. Says the Ancient One says the N64 version of the Infernal Machine had to rely on custom coding.
Didn't know that.
Well, the more you know.
I have that game, but I've never played it. And
Okay.
there's another one too that came out some years later, but I keep forgetting what that one is called. It was released on consoles and PC. It's more that one plays more like Tomb Raider though,
Alrighty.
but it looks great.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, you see, I love this.
Side note: Bethesda, who makes the Elder Scrolls games and the Fallout games and all, they announced an Indiana Jones game last year.
No.
Yes, they did.
Okay, so like, is it going to be any good, or are they going to ruin it, or what do you know about it?
Nothing. Only that it's an Indiana Jones game.
Oh, okay. I mean, that could be the best thing ever, or
Yeah.
the worst thing ever.
I hope they have Harrison Ford voice Indiana Jones, but I kind of doubt it. That he's. I don't think he does voice acting for video games.
No. But doing voices, you know, that's a lot easier because you don't even have to look the part. You just need to be able to imitate it.
Yeah, but you know, Harrison Ford.
Yeah, there's
he
only
needs
one.
to be there. But yeah, it's. I don't think it's his thing to do. Yeah,
Oh,
Jacob
yeah,
Ironside is right.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what also happened? And he said this in the making of the movie. John Rhys Davis was going. He had a scene that was cut where he was about to be executed by the Nazis because he gets captured, you know.
Yeah.
And he had diarrhea as well. Big time.
Yeah.
Everyone except Steven Spielberg because he had brought his own food.
I was going to say,
John Rhys Davis, he said he stood there in front of 50 people and he was so sick and he soiled himself and didn't care.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. he says that on the Blu-ray.
Yeah. Bring your own bottled water, kids, when you're
just
overseas.
let it flow and didn't give a damn.
Let it flow. Let it flow. We have an elf in the house. We have an elf in the house.
Lady
With a new
Toriel. Profile picture now.
Oh, yes. Look at that. Look at Lady Toriel.
Bigger Welcome. Arrow.
Oh, whoops, crap. Oh, I lost her. I'll bring her back. Okay. Everyone's saying hello. Everyone loves Lady Toriel, or Lady T, as she is now known. Lady T. She is saying hi to everyone. That is one badass profile. Is that from those elf books you're reading, Lady Toriel?
Nope.
No? Okay. Everyone's saying hi, saying wow, yay, everyone loves it. Everyone loves Lady Toriel. We love Lady Toriel here at Miss Martin Muses. Yes, we do. As we love everybody in general. Yes, we do, precious. So, to go a little bit of a sum up, we've been talking about a lot of Indiana Jones, and the more as we go on and the more I talk to you about it and what you've been saying, Stig, here today, holy crap, there's so much Indiana Jones material. I think that hopefully people that have been listening in today will be introduced to if they didn't know.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of young adult books. Mm-hmm. I believe they were released by Bantam back in the day, the same publisher that did the old Star Wars books.
Okay.
So it's they did the Young Jedi Knights and Young Indiana Jones, stuff like that.
Yeah, those books are great. And I don't know if I've had a chance to ask you this question, Stig. Did you like the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, the TV show?
Yeah. It was on TV up here in Norway when it came out. My memory of it is kind of vague, though, because I haven't seen it since.
Yeah. I've seen certain episodes several times because I actually would use them in the classroom.
You know what I did, though? For my channel, I was just making a silly video, because someone kept bugging me. You need to put up more videos. I'm like, no. And then I just, on a whim, I took an Indiana Jones figure, put it in Tupperware, and I basically looked around the house to see what I had. And so I put him in a Tupperware, and I dipped a tea bag on his face, and then I squirted liquid soap on him, and then dropped a glob of nougat on him, and then poured water into it. And 3 days later, Steven Spielberg backs out of Indiana Jones 5. And I was like, prophecy.
No, we all know what you really did. You did some sort of weird curse upon him.
Yeah.
Blame Stig.
Yeah, so just teabagged Indiana Jones, and like a few days later, Spielberg backs out.
A new kind of Viking curse. But well, actually, maybe I shouldn't say blame Stig. Maybe we should thank Stig. We'll have to wait till the movie comes out.
I'm going to watch Indiana Jones 5 because I'm a fan of Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And this is probably the last time we get to see Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. My worry, though, is that is it Indiana Jones?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it Disney Jones? Right? Because they have Phoebe Waller-Smith. It's Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who played the feminist droid in the Solo movie. She's involved with the movie, and that's never a good sign. She was also helping with the script for the new James Bond, and they killed off James Bond in that movie.
Yeah.
So I am worried about Indiana Jones 5. I really am. I want it to be great, but it's just,
I don't think so.
Yeah, and there's production problems galore, I believe.
Well, the dude keeps breaking bones.
Yeah, but he's dedicated. He's supposed to.
Yeah, is this the truth, Keck? I'm sorry, Steve. Keck 44 says someone kept bugging me. Christy?
No, I don't. It might have been.
Yeah. Soul Assassin said, for some reason, the Indiana Jones toys have had a hard time selling.
Yes. Same with the books. The Indiana Jones novels. They were never bestsellers at all. And to be honest, I've read 7 of them now. And I'd say 3 of them are really good so far. And then a couple are kind of dull. And then there's a couple of really bad ones. 2 of them are definitely terrible.
Okay. Well, there you are. Nolan says, I remember Pernilla August was in Shmi Skywalker, Anakin's mother. Yes, I forget what she played, but that's not uncommon when directors and all of them find an actor that they like to work with. They will keep them around. They will use them again. Not just someone that's a good actor, but obviously she made a good impression.
Elizabeth Hurley was in Young Indiana Jones as well.
Oh, well, there she is. Everyone Google. I'm not sure what role she played, but I do believe it was a secondary character.
Oh, yeah, she was kind of like a love interest-ish when he went to England.
Oh, okay. Well, you heard it here first. She's one of the Swedes you like, correct?
Elizabeth Hurley is from England.
Oh, not Elizabeth Hurley. Oh, I'm sorry. My brain switched. No, not Elizabeth Hurley. Pernilla August. Shmi Skywalker.
I've only seen her as Shmi Skywalker, so I'm kind of...
Okay.
She hasn't annoyed me yet.
Okay. Well, there we go. Snortapupus Kuber says, I liked the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, especially some of the World War I episodes, even though they had Belgian troops fighting on the Western Front in areas they didn't go.
Yeah, the novels referenced that show, actually. The latest one I read, you had Indy say that he was involved with the Belgian army back in the day.
Huh. Yep.
So it's continuity. Remember that?
Oh,
That
imagine
used
that.
to be fun.
Yeah. Soul, I was thinking the same thing. Soul Assassin says, the way I see it, if God keeps production of Indiana Jones Indy 5 from being completed, there has to be a good reason why. Yeah, it does kind of seem like it's divine intervention. Lady T says, I think they might kill off Indiana Jones in 5 and have a woman take over. Then it will all be
Well,
over.
here's the thing. They have the director who did Logan, the X-Men movie,
Mm-hmm.
which was basically Wolverine's goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And it was done tremendously well in Logan. It was a damn good movie. It was like Unforgiven, but with a less happy ending,
Mm-hmm.
And if they hired that one, that director who's known for that, to do like an Indiana Jones movie, it's you know
It's quite
it
possible.
worries me because I don't
Yeah.
want to see Indiana Jones killed off. And then they have the same lady that helped write the Bond movie where they kill off James Bond. So it's
Yeah, no thank
yeah.
you. We do not endorse that here at Miss Martin Muses.
It could be that they're not doing that at all,
Mm-hmm.
but it's when you look at the director and that lady and what Disney has been doing with the old heroes. They killed off Han, Luke, and Leia. Akbar is dead. You know,
Yeah. Let the
there is
past
a
go.
pattern.
Kill it if
There,
you must. Yeah.
yeah, there is a pattern, and this one has a couple of ingredients in it that worries me.
Yeah. Yeah, Corey Cochran says, so true. Stop stop 5. Yeah, someone needs to make a sign and maybe protest or something and saying, even God doesn't want you to finish this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Snorta Poopa says the Belgian troops fought in a small sector on the extreme left on the Western Front, basically in that last small part of Belgium the German troops didn't occupy. Yeah. Yeah, Snorta Poopas, he's been showing pictures of him wearing his human suit. And you do, is it living history or cosplay? I'm not sure which one you do, but you've definitely some really cool costumes. Some of you in uniform, I believe. A little bit of a mix of steampunk. Very cool stuff if you want to see the way he displays his knowledge of these historical facts and details in his costuming for his human suit.
Yeah. I think Indiana Jones though, the Indiana Jones stories shouldn't go into modern times.
No.
He fits like a glove in the between the 1920s and the 50s. Just keep him there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, DH Harrison Ford and stick him in the 40s. Just do a Indiana Jones and the Spear of Destiny or something. Just I don't want to see Indiana Jones running around in the 80s.
No. And we certainly don't want to see him in his 80s. Yeah.
Well,
Soul Assassin said,
he turns 78 this year, I think.
yes.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. As long as he, uh, well, Indiana Jones 4, he was superb in that one, and Harrison Ford is in great shape for his age.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I'm not worried about him at all.
Just the writers and
He's actually the only one I'm not worried about when it comes to this movie. It's Harrison Ford. He's going to do the job superbly.
yeah. I just want him to survive it. And
Yeah.
Yeah. Soul Assassin says, didn't the Indiana Jones films and TV shows share the same timeline? Jones would at least lose an eye, hence the eye patch. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Because the Indiana Jones 4 references the Young Indiana Jones show, which means it's canon.
Yeah.
So if they kill off Indiana Jones, they're going to break the Indiana Jones canon,
Yep.
which Disney seems to have no problems doing, even with their own canon for Star Wars. It's a mess.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
they're probably going to mess up Indiana Jones too.
Most likely. Most likely. Corey Cochran says the Bond pep being there does not bode well, so burn it with fire. Oh yes, because yeah. And never modern times, says Timon.
Don't get me wrong though. I want Indiana Jones to be 5 to be great, but it's just there are elements that make me worry.
Yeah. And people are saying they want to see maybe Snorta Poops do some of this stuff on YouTube. He says he's not that cruel. No, I think it's cool. And you don't have to, if you don't want to go on camera, and that's fine. I don't go on camera for a variety of reasons, but mics are very cheap. But yeah, he does
I don't,
steampunk. That's what he was saying.
I don't have a camera.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not on camera. Simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you're on camera, you can't do these things in your PJs.
Yeah, I know. I need to get dressed for streams and shit. It's
Yeah.
uncool.
I don't like getting dressed. Unless I absolutely have to. Let's see. Leave Uncharted for modern times, not indie.
Yes, agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Even Tomb Raider, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I like Tomb Raider. A lot of people compare it to Indiana Jones, and it's like, yeah, she's looking for artifacts and stuff, but that's about it. And there's traps, I guess, but other than that, it's completely its own thing. And she doesn't hold a candle to Indiana Jones.
No.
But I still like Lara Croft. She's a great character.
Yeah. It's a total different genre and total different purpose, all that kind of stuff. Keck44 says pants optional, streamers, trees, and steak.
Yeah.
That's more true than you know.
Oh, I have a story about that, but I'm not going to say it on stream because I'll tell it later.
Okay, I'll look forward to hearing it. Yeah. Yeah. I'll just leave it at that. Soul Assassin says the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider films are fun watches.
Yeah. I even liked the new one. It wasn't terrible. It was kind of bland, but it was like the actress was good.
Yeah. Well, okay. There we are. Yeah. Well, as we're going to slowly start to wind down this party, I'd like to ask, especially at the end of a stream like this, what do you want to say? Anything left that you want to say about Indiana Jones in general, all the different lore? Want to sum up anything you want to say that's legal to say?
Well, we have 4 movies, and they're damn good. I actually like the 4th one as well. It does have some wonky stuff with the CGI that I don't like. So I'm not going to say that's a perfect movie, but Ford is great in it. So we have 4 movies. We have some video games, which are also great. You have the Young Indiana Jones show and the books, which are, and you have a bunch of comics too, of course. Mm-hmm. But for those of you who have only watched the movies, there are more pieces of content for if you want more Indiana Jones, but you have to read, or play a video game. But if you're really into that stuff, there's more to dig into.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and before the stream started, I looked on Amazon here, Amazon USA, and there are some books. One written by Steve Perry, who did the Shadows of the Empire. He has an Indiana Jones book that you can get, and you can also find them on eBay. I love to just hang around half books and other similar kind of bookstores. So you can still find them. So enjoy yourself. There's plenty of material out there. I just love Indiana Jones because it was like a new old character. It was a kind of character, that kind of adventure character that maybe that you might have seen in some of the older comics way back when. And I think that was part of what George and Steven Spielberg were kind of looking for, especially George Lucas.
It was that, and Spielberg wanted to direct a Bond movie, but he figured he would never get a chance.
Oh.
And then George Lucas said, "Hey, I've come up with this." And fun fact, he was supposed to be called Indiana Smith, but Spielberg said, "Why not Jones instead of Smith? You know, Smith and Jones."
Oh.
So he said, "Why not Jones instead?" And George went, "Yeah, that sounds a bit better," or something like that. So it could have been Indiana Smith if Spielberg hadn't said something.
Yeah. Well, that just shows what a great collaboration they had. But I'm trying to think what the actual characters he might remind me of, but like that old-fashioned one.
Alan Quatermain.
Yeah.
No, King Solomon's Mines.
Yeah, there we go. But also an homage to those cliffhanger serials that George Lucas said he loved so much when he was growing up that he used to go see. And that was also part of the inspiration for Star Wars as well. So it's old-fashioned, mixed in with the supernatural artifacts. Well, that there are artifacts, but they have supernatural powers. So much fun.
Yeah. Oh, Pat Roach played 3 characters in the Indiana Jones movies. He played the big guy in the bar fight in Tibet.
Oh,
you know, and then he played the guy, the big German that gets his face in the propeller in the same movie, and he also played the big the big guy in Indiana Jones 2 that gets crushed.
Well, there you go. They must have liked him a lot if they kept hiring him and giving him work.
Yeah, and he also played General Kale in Willow. So he was used quite frequently by Lucasfilm.
Oh, well, there we go. Yeah. So obviously he wasn't a jerk. Snorta Poopa says, I think decent movie adaptations of book make more sense if you've read the books. You can fill in the holes left because of editing decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're all afraid that they're going to kill him off and make him die like a punk, maybe like the way he did in Star Wars.
Yeah, that was... I remember I was watching that movie at the cinema, and I started noticing that, hey, this is A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're just remaking A New Hope, and Han Solo is Kenobi. And then he walked out onto that bridge to talk to Kylo, and I was like, shit.
Yeah.
I saw it coming a mile away, and it was... That's not how you kill off a character that has been that important to people for decades. That was like, you just killed him like a dog.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Yeah. No.
And arguably Luke's death was worse.
Oh.
He overdosed on the Force. That's not even possible. The Force is all... It's not something you drink.
Yeah.
It's in and around you all the time. You just guide it.
Exactly.
So yeah.
They overdosed on the Force too, which, considering the way Carrie Fisher passed, was really cruel. It's like, yeah, well, able to have her overdose on the show too, on the movie. It's like, oh, the Force killed me. I gotta die now because I, used the Force. Yeah, but I would argue they killed the characters before they killed them.
If only Yoda had warned Luke, hey, don't use it too much, you're gonna croak.
Yes. Yeah, so we don't want Indiana Jones to go out like a punk. No punks, no punks. I think I'll be able to get a gauge of the Indiana Jones 5th movie by people that are going to go see it. Like, I'm not going to do one of those things where I'm going to see it the opening night. I'm just not going there. Not going to go there.
No, the last time I watched a Disney movie in the cinema was The Last Jedi, because I was dumb enough to still think they were gonna do something good with it. Because Episode 7 ends with Luke dressed as a Jedi and being handed a lightsaber, and I was like, okay, they can do something cool with this at least, right?
Yep.
And then The Last Jedi happens, and I'm like, oh no, And the walk back home from the cinema is like a 10-minute walk. It felt like I was walking for an hour.
Oh,
It was just, I was just stunned. I was like, what did I just see?
yeah.
It was like, this should not be possible.
It was kind of like what they did with Downton Abbey when they killed Matthew at Christmas time. They killed Luke at Christmas time, and they killed him before they killed him. It was like one long, slow torture.
Yeah, him dying was almost the least painful stab. Was the way they destroyed him first.
Yeah.
At least Han Solo felt like Han Solo.
Yeah.
Because when Harrison Ford walked onto the Falcon in Episode 7, it was like he never left. Harrison Ford was superb in Episode 7, but they killed him. It's just, why?
Yeah. Yeah, Jacob Iron said, of course, to get is that they hate the fans. Yes, they do. Rogue One went with a friend and stopped after that. Says Soul Assassin Snorted Poopa says, I would want to come back as a nagging force goat. Hey, kid, that's not how it works.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, precisely. So if we do see, if I get Last Jedi vibes from it, from the people that will see it first, I'm not going to watch it. That's the way I'm going to be with just about anything. That's the way I'm going to be with just about anything here on out that I care about. I'm not going to see it until I hear from somebody I trust that it's good.
Yeah.
And then I'll go do
You know what? With Indiana Jones 5,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be more than happy if it's just decent, and if they don't kill off Indiana Jones or something, or cuck the guy, or whatever it is.
Yeah, they don't kill him before they kill him.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I started an argument. Yes, poor Matthew. Yes, poor Matthew. And then Keck44 says, Matthew, blah, blah, blah. They killed the good sister. That's true. Yeah, man. She died in childbirth. That was terrible. Terrible, terrible. But realistic. Women did die in childbirth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Soul Assassin. But they're canceling the sequels.
Yeah, no, they're not.
It is funny, though, because...
You know what, though?
Oh, so, go ahead, Stig.
Let's say they do cancel the sequels. They retcon them. What they're going to achieve with that is have the other part of the fan base that support them will turn on them too.
Yeah. Well, and there's no reason to do so. It was just a fantasy that was made up. It has been interesting, though, following some things that popped up on my timeline where there's all these videos. Oh my gosh, they're not retconning the sequels, and seeing a lot of people going, what? Since when was that supposed to happen? It was...
Jon Favreau was honest from the get-go.
Yeah.
He said they were going to, with the new shows, they were going to tie the prequels, the OT, and the sequels together. And they're going to sprinkle it with some EU.
He said it.
Yeah,
he told us. So I'm not mad at the directors or the creators.
No, they're doing a shit job. But he was honest. You know, that's what he said they would do, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, they never misled anybody.
Nope.
Ancient One, 15 likes so far, only 5 more to go for the 20 like hype. Yes, we love 20 like hypes here at Miss Martin Muses. Shane Nolan, yes, almost 50% died in childbirth or the children. My grandmother lost 7. Oh, that's tragic. Yes. Childbirth was incredibly dangerous until, let's be honest, till we had penicillin, because women would catch infections. That's what would often happen, or they would bleed to death. It was very dangerous. But man, your grandmother, she must have been one hell of a woman. That's hard. Yeah, most children would not make it out of infancy. It was horrible. Lady T, fingers crossed for 5. Yes.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Jacob Ironside, they killed the man 2 times. Yes,
He-Man. They killed He-Man twice.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, He-Man. Oh, I thought you meant they killed the man. I was thinking, yeah, Luke Skywalker died twice. Okay, He-Man was killed twice. My mea culpa. Thank you, Stig, for helping me out there. Ancient One, I made sure Frodo gave me the 1 ring. I even took the new ring. Well done. Thank you. Though beware, don't use it. Don't even be tempted to use it for good. Sort of Poopus says Indiana Jones and Methuselah's support. What the hell? Yeah. Shade Nolan, incredible woman. She had 8 healthy kids. Wow. So she gave birth 15 times. My gosh, what a woman. 8 healthy kids. Yeah. It's common. I don't know if maybe like my generation. I think our grandparents were the last generation where it was very common that they had siblings that died. That's the way it was with most of my grandparents, that there was at least 1, maybe 2, at least the ones that they would talk about, because often they wouldn't talk about them because, of course, it was very sad that children would just die. Very terrible. On that happy note, always working.
My grandmother gave birth to 7.
Wow. Dude. Yeah. My my grandmother, they had this. No, my great grandmother, they actually had a thing going, like, the 7th daughter of a 7th daughter. They had one of those, and they say that that's like supposed to have like special powers or something. I don't know if she said that they ever had that, but it was like that was the thing. Jane Nolan, all at home with her neighbor as midwife. Yeah, that was the thing, and that's why women would die. A little bit of an aside here. Sometimes there's a little bit of a push. I'm going to do a home birth and do it holistically. Children, everyone listening out there, if you're of childbirthing age, don't do that, because even today, something can go wrong and you want to be in a hospital. So if something were to go wrong, either for the sake of your child or for yourself. So the more you know, it is best to give birth in a hospital. Jacob Ironside says, I live near a graveyard. There are lots of children 3 and under. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. And you'll go around and you'll just see infant. It'll say sometimes, or just have like the date, 1 date on it. And you knew that the baby died when it was born. Oh my gosh, Ancient One. I am now yeah, we're gonna change. We're gonna go away from infant mortality and women dying in childbirth. That's getting dark. I'm now the Dark Lord. Sauron is out of the way. Oh my gosh. Well, my goodness. So be careful. Yeah, lots of children. Well, I'll tell you what, Shane. You know this in Ireland. There were cemeteries everywhere. And when I'm saying cemeteries, you'd be walking through a field and it's like you find some ruin and it's like a cemetery where the tombstones are like 1,000 years old, and around Halloween time, oh my gosh, it was so creepy if you were out walking at night, and it would get dark early. You're talking like 3:00 in the afternoon, and you're 3:30, and you're like, I gotta go past that ancient cemetery to get to my friend's house. Jacob Iron says, I was born at home. Oh, yeah, that's great. Okay, I need to be clear. I'm not judging anybody. But I actually had a friend at 40. She nearly died giving birth. It was really scary. Really, really scary. She was in a hospital, though. Sort of Poopus Kuber says, back in the days of yore, hospitals were dirty and deadly, so giving birth to her might have been the better option. But that was then. Yes, that's true. Well, that's true too. You wouldn't want to go to a hospital. You wouldn't want to go. Okay, Shane, you remember that. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. And the great thing is because of a mixture of superstition about some of those things that people would have about it, and a mixture of the Catholic faith that pervades there, that you don't disturb a graveyard. These things are preserved. People wouldn't mess with them. People would not mess with them, so they're still preserved. In Kinsale, I like to go to Kinsale when I'm allowed to travel. There's just a big old cemetery right by this little tower thing, and it's just sticking up. Yeah, with the midwife, and it was very sad. Yeah, and that's true. Okay, yeah, I better shut up. I'm not a doctor here. I'm a musician. So we're going to go ahead and wind down this party, but oh gosh, Stig left. He didn't want to talk about dead babies anymore. That'd be a good discussion if we ever want to talk about Jane Austen movies or books, and Charles Dickens and orphans dying and everything. There was always a lot of tragedy. There was always a oh, Snorta Poofskerber is chiming in. I was born in a burrow dug in the snow. Yes, you were. Well done. And you made it. How many cubs does a polar bear have? Do they have just one at a time? They might. I don't know. But it is a thing. Well, I guess what I'll say about Indiana Jones is just great adventures. And I recommend the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles if you can find them. I don't even know where they're airing or anything like that, but they weren't very popular, and a lot of people complained because it was different than the movies, and it was not supernatural stuff and all that. They were history lessons. That's what they're going to do. Shane Nolan says, my mother loves Kinsale. Oh, hell yes. You see, here's the deal. While we lived in a suburb of Cork City, a lot of our friends lived in Kinsale. So we would do sleepovers and all that, because a lot of, like, my dad actually worked in Kinsale, but we wanted to live near the city so we could have things to do, especially my mother, who always has been mostly blind, so that she could be able to take the bus and go downtown and socialize, because you really need to drive in a lot of the houses there. But I love Kinsale. I'm going to be writing about Kinsale next in my Jaywalking the Planet. I've been doing some articles on Ireland. My first one is there, the Dingle Peninsula, and I will also be doing Kinsale next. Love it. Gosh, the fish there are to die for. Okay. Wow. Ancient One. This is out of control. Everyone stay away. Sauron is here. He absorbed his soul. Even Galadriel bows me. See, I told you not to put on that ring. I told you not to. Jacob, no offense was taken. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Between 1 and 4 cubs as usual. Oh, okay. Well, there you are. Shane Nolan says they are free of you on YouTube, Young Indiana Jones. Hey, there we are. Oh, yeah, I see you, Stig. I'm about ready to. Yeah, we're gonna end this party, just like a chick. I say we're gonna end, and then I have to talk for 30 more minutes. Lady T, that would be a fascinating discussion. Yes, it would. Well, girl, if you, we'll get together. We'll talk about that stuff. Yeah. Fun stuff. 1 or 2 is the most usual. Okay. Well, we are going to be ending. As always, here on Miss Martin Muses, I have the Saturday Lord of the Rings stream, and most of the time, every Monday, the double pick. I am not sure if I'm going to be able to make it because I will be flying, but I do have definitely planned on Tuesday. The triple review will be returning. Also, I'm going to be doing some more videos, just little videos about the letters of Tolkien, because I think that's a good thing to do. Love the letters of Tolkien. Stig, okay, Stig's here. Stig, where are you going to be? I know you're going to be somewhere.
Tomorrow, I'm gonna be on with. Well, it's gonna be Wednesday. Jade Shadow, Mora's channel for the Cringe Factory, and then Thursday at 6 a.m. Central, me and Lady Gravemaster will be doing our second 80s stream. It's called the Blockbuster Archives, where she has given me one movie to watch from 1981, and I've given her a movie to watch from 1981, and we're going to review them and talk about 1981 a bit.
Wait a second.
I know you guys can't see me, but I'm still out, but I wanted to pop in real quick just to say hi. I don't know why my camera doesn't want to work. I keep trying to turn it on, but again, I just wanted to say I'm sorry I couldn't.
Oh,
you're sorry you couldn't. Okay.
He couldn't. That was our maybe guest, and he maybe we'll get him back again. He's sorry he couldn't.
Yep. Anyway, that's what I've got going. So swing by at 6 a.m. on Lady Gravemaster's channel on Thursday.
Thursday morning, 6 a.m. and 8 p.m. Central. I mean, 9 p.m. Eastern, dead 3 p.m. Dear. We just have a meme now. Hit and run guesting. It says Snortopupus. Okay.
I'm sorry I couldn't make it. Oh, yeah, we know. That's all we know.
Hey, if that he was cut off a little too suspiciously. I hope he's okay. It's like you've seen it here on Miss Smart Muses. You've seen it here on Miss Smart Muses. So yes.
What if he had said like, what's that car doing? And then,
or what does this button do?
Or like, who the hell are you? And then,
oh no,
never hear from him again.
Poor Drunk doesn't know we're talking about him. But yes, Drunk was wanting to join us, but he is doing some work for the perk hopping. Okay, we really got to go because we do. So great stream. Thank you, everyone. And as Stig said, what he said about where he's going to be. And please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. I do appreciate all of you being here. Have a great evening, everyone. Have a great evening. And be certain if you're about to get hit by a truck, don't be like Drunk 3PO and stream it.
And X marks the spot.
It always does.